Welcome to Week 2 of the Forcecast Fantasy Football League, where bouncing too close to a supernova will end your trip real quick. With a Week 2 recap, we'll start off with a lazy book club matchup. Sith NES Tecmo Super Bowlers versus Darth Elvis.
The dark side.
This dark side matchup seemed to be packed with power. Drew Brees versus the great Brett Favre. But with less than ideal performances by powerful players, this duel of Sith Lords looked more like a lazy walk in the park. At least until Monday night, when the stars shone bright in Texas. Masterful maneuvers by Marion the Barbarian and Tony's favorite tight end put the Tecmo Bowlers on top, 88-59. Last week's Hall of Shame team, Canton Panic Zone versus the victorious iLobot. Pete's panicked players posted positive points this week in an effort to avoid more uncomfortable moments.
But everything's perfectly all right now. We're fine. We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
But even with Mick Chelly's disappointment in LaDainian Tomlinson, he managed to make up for it with Eli Manning and Chris Chambers. Who said this fantasy football thing would make sense? iLobot finishes first, 85-67. Strike up the band and get out the Sabat cards. Bespin Kings versus McLovin's Modal Nodes. Hunkered down in a cantina waiting for Hurricane Ike to blow over, both Eric and Felton Bass feel the pressure as Derek Mason and Matt Schaub fail to play. Hindered by a postponed game and injured players, the Kings of Bespin falter in this stormy matchup. 57-47. Modal Nodes are now 2-0. The Tashi Station Monkey Lizards take on Darth Maulers.
But I was going into Tashi Station to pick up some power converters.
On paper, this matchup looked promising for the Med Droid from Mexico, but as the weekend progressed, a dread of Monday Night Madness cut the Monkey Lizards' laughter short. Romo rescues Terry's Darth Maulers at the last second.
Force is strong with this one.
72-58. Obi-Wan's Wampas versus Indoor Ingenious Bipeds. Who'da thunk it? Bradshaw besting Willie Parker? Or Delhomme posting more points than Anderson? As strange as the story on Brad's bench is, though, the real story is with those unassuming Ewoks. Princess Nisa leads her team to victory once again with powerful plays by Peyton Manning, Brandon Marshall, Ernest Graham, and Tony Gonzalez, 98-55. Barrick's Baltimore Spaceballs versus Ryan's Raging Rancors. Coming off a win in the East Coast versus Midwest matchup last week, Barrick had to bench 2 players due to Hurricane Ike, but their presence wouldn't have made any difference because last year's champions were enraged at last week's defeat. The Rancors reached out and gobbled up guards to post a whopping 11 points this week in a 32-point victory over the Spaceballs, 111-79.
I have a really bad feeling about this.
Dex Diner versus Mad Monty's Nickelbacks. It's a good thing we didn't see Darth Hirsch on screen in Episode 4, or Admiral Motti wouldn't be looking for his nickel.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Without remorse, Hirsch's fast food favorites flattened the arrogant Admiral's army, even without a great performance by benched Santana Moss. The force is truly unleashed now. Dex's Diner crushes the Nickelbacks, 137-55.
What if he doesn't survive? He's worth a lot to me.
And the final matchup. The Bounty Hunter Battleground, the Mandalorians versus Trandosha Trojans. We all knew how this one would end up. Boba Fett is far better than Bosk. He's cool, calculating, and that armor is really sweet. But in true Trandoshan form, Jovial J overlooked his storm-delayed tight end and benched a better backup. With Tony Scheffler riding the bench, it looked as if the Trojans would fall to the Mandalorians. But T.O. comes to the rescue Monday night to save the day. Trojans 76, Mandos 75. This is Shaz Bazaar with the Forcecast Fantasy Football League.